least, a lot good fun. And back in those days, we even had races here in Switzerland on the Lake Silvaplana, which were organized by a local guy. So it was, a small community back then, and that's we talk in 98. So yeah, I started racing quite early in my early ages, with 18 years old, and then went on to the buggy racing basically for the next 5, 6, 7 years. I've done that a lot, and beside that, in the wintertime, still on the snow. And I guess the racing is pretty special for me. I've done the Runner Rock a couple of times now in Norway. I won it once in 2014 or 15. Came third last year. So it's good fun, and the racing is pretty special to me. I kind of really enjoy it. At the same time, I wouldn't consider myself being really a competitive person, but I just really enjoy the fact racing with like-minded people and stuff, and lining up and then kind of pushing the material to the limits as well, and having the right equipment, the right gear, seeing if you get beaten, you check out the competitor's stuff, what he has and what he uses. It's not just all in the kites, there's a lot in the skis and the preparing of the skis, waxing, harnesses, all that stuff, what matters. So yeah, and I hope I can help you guys to get into that a little bit. And
I know I gave you a little bit of I know I gave you a little bit of dialogue on what you do, but just better hear from you. What do you do with Ozone?
I'm basically working. I'm a part of the design team. We're 3 guys working full time for Ozone and the design team. Two guys from New Zealand and me. So I've spent a lot of time in New Zealand, and then in the New Zealand winter we move ourselves to Mauritius to get the job done. And as you said, we have a big range of models, with 13 models at the moment, from snow kites, intermediate backcountry snow kites, race specific kites, and now obviously since 4 or 5 years the race foils have and they actually taking a lot of time from us, because they're pretty hard to develop and to make better, and it's the high end kites are always the hardest kites, I'd say. So because it's just so critical to get them perfect. So
okay,
that's what I do.
Obviously I haven't set up the Snowkite Racing, but we have a extremely unique opportunity to actually speak with Dom, who's on the design crew of one of the do you only work on the race kites, or do you work on them all, or what are you into?
No, we all work on everything. So yeah,
all right.
It's from the water kites to the race kites to the snow kites, everything. Yeah,
I know when I do follow-up emails and sell some gear that's Ozone, I'll push your videos across, and you're in a lot of those videos as well for on your main website, and then also just things that you've done over the years for videos on anything kiting related. So I've got a couple of things just to kind of put out there to give us something to talk about, but know that you have a designer for Ozone to ask questions if there's anything else other than that's not even Snowkite related. I don't really care. If you have questions about stuff, just kind of chime in and ask them. Along those lines, did you guys by chance have any specific things that you wanted to know about Snowkite Racing, and that would be questions that you could ask? And if they come to you, or if you don't have anything right now, it's fine. But anybody want to ask a question about an element or a technical element or a part about Snowkite Racing?
Yeah, I got a question.
Who's that?
This is Alexander.
Alrighty.
What software are you using to design your kites?
We got our own Ozone software, which we also have a full-time employee who works on the software only to basically, adjust it and tweak it to the needs for what we need to do for for future designs. So yeah, it's the same design we use for our paragliders as well. So it's a shared software for the paragliding department, which is a big department as well. But
do civilians ever get their hands on it? Someone like me ever get a chance to mess around with that software?
I'm afraid. I'm away for that. Sorry.
Not going to happen, huh?
No, we can't do that. Sorry.
What do you want to design? You want to try to design a kite, Alexander?
Well, why not? Sure.
Uh-huh.
I'm an engineer, so I mess with SolidWorks.
But there's open source website softwares out there, that can be used.
All right, thanks.
Plan is one of them, for example. I think there's free trials and stuff for that.
What's it called?
Glider Plan.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Anybody else have any other questions to ask?
Maybe the questions they just come as we roll, Mike. If we talking about, I don't know what stages you guys are in racing and kiting anyway, and what you kind of your level is and what you need to know.
Okay.
There's a lot to know about equipment. Then there is winds and surfaces and stuff we can talk about. Is there any specific points you guys are curious about, or should we just...
I can tell you just a little bit of a story to help kind of springboard things. Dom, when I met you, it was 2015, and we were in Wissa. I had a 12-meter chrono at that time, and the original version. I had been kiting over a decade at that point, and like most kiters, pretty much felt I had it figured out. When I got on that course with you guys and the Swiss team and the Russians and the Quebecers and everybody else, I got blown off the course. I had no clue what I was getting involved with. And I went from basically that 38th place or whatever, how many races we had, to kind of middle of the pack, just solving things after a couple of days.
Yeah.
On the third day, you and Eric Lapointe out of Quebec did two huge solids for me. One, you tuned my kite for me because I didn't have a clue. It's a foil kite. I was scared of them at that point because there's bridles and I'm used to inflatables. And then two, Eric set me up on skis. And from that point, I went from on the fourth day, the last and final day of racing, I went into 8th position, 7th position, and then ended up in 6th position. Mm-hmm. And those technical elements, I was able to provide whatever skill that I actually have, but those tweaking elements actually made me competitive. And then I too fell in love with racing then at that point. So learning these variables and trying to impress upon people, wax your skis, put an edge on your skis, find the right kind of skis, or snowboard. Mm-hmm. I've since grabbed a 216 centimeter snowboard from one of the races in Montreal last year or 2 years ago. And that board I put on a kid locally here. Some of you guys know this, Nick Ruckty, and he finished 12 minutes in front of everybody else in the snowboard category. So just the technical side of gear and how important that is. So we've got a race coming up here locally, and if you haven't waxed your gear or learned how to wax your gear or hired somebody to wax your gear, that's certainly a critical component.
Yeah, if I can, it's pretty much, it's pretty much putting the right tires onto your car. If you go into a racetrack, you want to make sure that you've got a good rubber on. It's the same thing with the skis. First of all, you want to have a good pair of skis, and we're talking about You want to have a straight, long edge on your skis, ideally no radius. Talking about 2 meters plus. The longer, the better. There is the speed skis, which are designed for downhill racing, basically straight line downhill racing, which kind of hard to get. Then there is because they're pretty rare because they're only a handful of people really ride them. And they're 2 meters 30, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah,
I know mine are 239 centimeters. The conversion of that stuff, I don't really know, but those are atomics. I think you're a Fisher.
Yeah, they're atomics. Yeah, but then I'm mostly racing on the super skis, 2m11s, which are pretty fine. But the most important thing is the preparing the edge need, especially if you're racing on ice like we did on the Visa in you want to have your edges to grip on the ice, especially.
One of the reasons why I got blown off the course, and I couldn't literally first race went up, I was out, just got blown off, and then I kind of limped back to my car and grabbed a different pair of skis, different kind of to get in the game a little bit, but yeah.
So that's a big factor, and then the proper preparing of the skis, putting the right wax on and doing all that. It's worth speaking to your local shop, maybe your local ski shop, to get a bit of a knowledge from them how to prepare your skis, what kind of wax you want to put on, and what temperatures and stuff like that.
Do you have a comment about mounting bindings on Snowkite Racing skis? Do you like to play with that factor at all? Do you keep the bindings on their recommended spot? Do you move them forward a little bit, or is that nothing you mess with?
It kind of depends as well on the surface. If you're riding on harder surface, you most likely better put them onto mid to a bit forward, just so you distribute the load onto the edges a bit more evenly. While if you have a bit of the softer snow, you probably want to put it a little bit further back so you can lift up the front of the skis out of the snow a little bit more. But I'm honestly not playing around too much with it. I'm trying to find the good position for all around.
You did okay. Good. I'm going to just bounce around with a couple of the topics here. You also commented on harness. Why would that
matter? Harness is actually a very good point. Also, here we are using, the good racers, most of the racers, they're using seat harnesses. The reason for that is pretty easy. You, compared to a waist harness, you've got your center of gravity lower down, and you've got the load going into your legs instead of, having to put it through your hip to your butt into your legs, wearing a waist harness. So,
if you can see my screen, Dom, I snagged a photo of you and your posture. I wonder if I have this better here. Does that screen share show up for you guys?
Yeah. Yes. It does. Yeah.
So checking out your posture here, that's you, right?
Yeah.
Checking out your posture. There's a couple of things, and even posture, that's a whole nother topic. But anyway, so you're saying using that seat harness so you can distribute, use your words, go ahead.
Yeah, you distribute the load coming from the bar, from the kite lines into the bar, into the harness. You just get it really low, and as you can see on that picture especially, I'm really down on my knees. This gives me a very low center of gravity. And I just feel really comfortable in that position, because I also can really play with my legs and with my knees. If it's uneven surfaces and stuff, you kind of like in a spring type of position. It also keeps your whole body very compact and as lower to the ground you are, the better you can put load onto your edges of both, ideally on both skis.
Okay, so that's good. A comment about posture. We have. I'm not going to do it anyway. So let's lock in more on posture, and how is that like? I noticed if my stance is apart, if my knees are together, if I'm really, is there an exercise, or is there a way for people to think about what the best posture is for when you're on a run, not through turns, not downwind, but just posture when you're on a turn pins.
Yeah. Well, you also see it on a lot of pictures. I haven't found one. I haven't found one yet, but at the moment. But a lot of people, they have a kind of a wide stance, so they put all the load onto the downwind leg or ski, and then they kind of put the center of gravity above the other one and kind of have their body weight on the other one, and just putting edge on that one and having the other ski quite flat. It's a personal preference, really, how you feel comfortable and how you kind of feel you're going the fastest. That's another thing you're just gonna go out and find out. In fact, doing it yourself actually, and practicing and seeing which way you prefer and which way is comfortable for you and you can do for a long time, obviously, without wearing out.
Okay, so what I'm looking for is that posture exactly. And Bill, I'm going to pick on you for a second. We had a nice little news piece just a couple of days ago. So working to get your posture to be much closer, your legs closer together, this isn't loading anything like that for me right now, but shoot, never mind. I'll skip out of this. It's pretty far down the list here. Anyway, so just trying to have a better posture. Not going to pick on you, Bill, but I know when I get tired, my posture suffers. Like I start to get wider stance, and I'll have one leg out way further than the leg, and that's just a fatiguing deal. So I probably need to do more squats, something like that. I don't really know actually a good exercise that would work for good posture.
Hang on. Yeah. But yeah, there's fast racers doing the same stance as you do. It's not necessarily, the one you've seen in the picture of me. It's not necessarily the fastest, but it's just what I'm feeling comfortable with.
It's a good clean line. You probably have just good leg strength as well too, with all that youth and exuberance that you have.
Yeah.
Is this jogging any questions, you guys, or should I keep on rolling on through some of the questions?
Yeah, I got a question about wax, and how long does it? I mean, I've heard from like ski shops, when you're doing a long distance endurance race, wax is only going to last like 15 miles. How do you prolong the life of your wax?
Yeah, that's a good question. You just you're gonna run with it for the time it lasts, and then you wear it out and it's gone, unfortunately.
Hot boxing is a way that some people manage to get their wax to stay a little bit longer. But yeah, naturally, you're just chafing that off the entire time that you're racing. So our local guy here, Dana Henry, I'll keep on pitching him. He does the skis for the Birkebeiner, he does Gear West, that is, and he's the head tech. And then he also does the wax for the girls' Olympic team last year in Vail, the Olympic ski team. So this guy is a brilliant technician, and he is he'll do things like when I was in Montreal, he said, "Hey, I did something special to your skis. Why don't you tell me how the race goes?" And he ended up waxing the sides of my skis, which ended up being perfect because I was in deep snow. And he always asks me, he says, "Mike, if you can race flatter on your skis, it'll be better for you." And I just said, "Dana, it's not how we race. We're always edging." So he took that and he waxed the sides of my skis, and that actually gave me a very nice competitive advantage that put me out in front for a little while until the snow was so deep it ate my ski tip and threw me in a just a loop. But he'll recommend getting skis done a few days prior, not the day of per se, and then hot boxing them so that it stays heated and into the base of your ski.
To the base, yeah.
Yep.
That's a whole another story, the whole waxing thing, really. And I must admit, I'm not really good at it either. I've got good people around me who have a lot more knowledge about it, really.
Good question, though. I think that by and large, most people in Minnesota are rightfully recreational kiters. Even Denver, you guys too, Tom. Actually, probably kiters in general are recreational, and they maybe don't want to spend the kind of time investing in their skis. So, for example, I would wager majority of the kiters that show up on Saturday won't have an edge on their skis. They won't likely even have wax on them. But to the point of snowkite racing, it's fun to just be part of the deal. But if you want to be competitive, this is certainly an absolute necessity. Having right length skis or snowboard and wax. I'm getting hit with an alert saying I've got 8.5 minutes left here, which is probably just fine. It's part of the service that I'm signing up for.
Right.
Any other topics that we can drill down on quick before this thing closes off?
Yeah,
well, I could imagine. Sorry if I'm.
I
could imagine.
Line lengths. Anybody have any questions on line lengths?
I was just about to pick that up as well, because that's a pretty interesting topic actually, and very important one as well, because line length actually matters a lot. As you, Mike, has experienced as well. I think when you rocked up, you were on 25-meter lines or whatever first time, and you just with the longer your lines are, basically, the more drag, sideway pulls you're getting from your kite, which is fine if you want to do downwinders or you want to pull sledges through Greenland and stuff like that. But in a race, when you want to go far, you want to have the kite going as much forward as possible. So the shorter your lines are, the more forward drive the kite generates on you. So therefore, at the moment, we're kind of down to the same as the foil racers on the foil boards on the water, kind of 12 to 15 meters, depending on the kite size. If you haven't experienced shorter lines, you probably want, you're good to start with 17s or even 19s, and then slowly cut them down to probably 15, 14, something like that. A good average that I'm using on everything at 15 meters, and that's doing me well. It still gives me enough length to make it, loop the kite if you have to, and to play with it in case the wind drops, and you have to move them by moving the kite up and down and stuff like that. I'd say 12 meter, 11 meter, really short, and yeah, you might want to be on a kite, 10 meters or smaller, using those lines. But anything bigger than 10, 11 meters, you want to be on 15, 16, 17 meter lines.
So you're on 15 meter lines right now?
Sorry, what's that?
You said that you're racing on 15 meter lines?
Yeah, I'm pretty much standard.
Alexander,
Yeah.
sounds like you're moving or something like
Oh,
that.
sorry.
Okay.
I'll shut my speaker off.
Yeah, that's all good. And I just upped the deal on this, so we got more time.
Unlimited.
So,
Cool.
we're a little bit less under a schedule, but certainly we all have stuff to do. But anyway, I think we're going to be fine.
Are you also using specific race lines regarding thickness of the line? I was just looking into single strut kites for water surfing, and a guy was talking about how much of a difference it made when he went to a thinner line.
Yeah. Yeah, as well. We do special race line sets as well, offering from Ozone, which are different to what what the kite comes with the standard. The standard one are 500 front lines and 300 back lines, kgs we're talking. And on the race line sets, we're having 300 on the front lines, which have a diameter of 0.9 of a millimeter. And the back lines are 200 kgs, which have a 0.8 of a millimeter diameter. So yeah, and you've got shorter lines, you've got thinner lines. Obviously, that reduces the drag quite a lot. And as you know, if you're looking at the bridle lines as well on the race kites, I don't know if you have ever seen one.
No.
At an R1, for example, you got very thin Amstel lines, nicely spliced, and they're quite, they're pretty strong. Thanks to the Amstel, you can just it's a Kevlar. You can reduce the diameter quite a lot, and it all comes together and adds up in the parasitic drag. So yeah.
Alrighty.
Hey, I'm curious. Is Ozone, what their lines, are they using like Eurocord, or is it Teffenberger or?
It's Braytech.
Braytech.
Braytech, yeah.
Everybody's very secretive about their lines. I've had lots of challenges with stretch, and so I've just kind of been analyzing lines because I'm trying to figure out the best one.
Yeah, they're pretty good, because we've been testing a lot of lines from other brands as well, and we're definitely sticking with what we're having, because we're quite happy with them. Yeah, we just updated them to this mid of last year to the new SK99 Dyneema. So they even have less stretch, and they got reduced in the diameter. So yeah.
Right on. The more technical things get, sometimes it loses people. I know I just want to plug and play sometimes, but again, just reiterating, when I started to race and getting a couple of absolutely brilliant pointers from you, Dom, and from Eric Lapointe in Quebec, it changed things up, because then I understood more. But until then, I was just pig-headed. I couldn't figure it out, the details. But watching you guys just tear out in front, it started to come together. Incidentally, I think 2019 WISA has happened again. So it would be really nice to get organized. And getting people organized is the tough deal, just because we're all recreational minded. Like, this is an activity that's for fun, that we want to go out and screw around and see our kiter friends and, do a couple things or whatever. But when it comes to the technical sides of the racing, jeepers, well, a lot of those teams, a lot of you guys, you were the only one from Germany, is that right? Or where do you hail from? You're
Yeah, Germany originally.
Yeah. I mean, but the Quebec team, super organized. They were top finishers the entire time. And I've since gone and raced with them every year since then. It's just one time a year. It's a nice deal. Let's see, a couple more things about technical elements. How about the angle of the best angle? This may be an easy one, but off of a turn, a windward, turn pin 1 to turn pin 2, usually that's the fastest reach of a race to get up to speed of a windward leeward course. Is that angle? It's not directly 90 degrees straight across, or 0 degrees across the wind. You have that's if I can't ask the question, I don't suppose anybody can answer it. But just looking for the fastest setup angle across the wind, because it's fun to get up and get cooking. Like, just see how fast you can get going. And if the course is tilted, or if the wind's shifting, and then you can't always get like a supersonic speed going, which it gets just insanely fast when it's set up right.
Yeah. Well, I can't actually. I don't know, because I'm not doing a lot of GPS readings on my own and stuff, so I don't really know the angle. But again, it's something you're feeling. You kind of accelerating, and then you just go a little bit further downwind, and you get to the point where you don't accelerate any more further.
Yeah, I think it's a bad question. I'm going to skip the next one. How about techniques? Any unique techniques that are part of racing? I did a video a year or two ago about that upwind tack, and I'm still mediocre at best about it. Saw you out at Ragnarok last year, out on the course at the start line. Saw you practicing a couple of those. And just that upwind tack. Any of you guys practicing that at all? I know I'm trying to impress it upon the community here, just on how to do that upwind roll. But the lower you are, the better it is. It's basically a back roll transition. It just feels different.
It almost is, yeah. It is. It's actually fun if you're making it.
Yeah,
it's a nice feeling if you, because it almost feels like a bit of a freestyle trick, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you kind of you swing your body underneath the bar. It's hard to explain it without actually showing it, but
up into the wind, you pass the lines right in front of your face.
Yeah. So that's definitely giving you a lot of advantage, because you're not losing any height upwind, and if you get it right, you keep the speed going through the tech and going off again. So it's if it's nicely done, it's quite a smooth transition.
Plus a good time saver.
Big advantage, yeah.
How about angles up into the wind for upwind? I recall learning that you kind of want to think in terms of 45 degrees into the wind. When you have these race kites, you can actually point a lot, more successfully than a lower aspect or a medium aspect kite. Do you guys know what your optimal angle is for your R1 series kites, or even chronos, about what kind of angles you guys are achieving into the wind?
That really depends a lot on the surface, obviously on the wind strength and the kite size. You can't really just, again, it's not just a fixed angle.
Okay.
It's the whole package, actually. There are different tactics, I would say. Some people go for higher speeds and lower angles. Some people go for lower speeds and higher angles. That also kind of depends on how powered you up. If you're overpowered, you don't want to go fast, because that you can't actually hold the edge anymore. So you're probably going for a higher angle and lower speeds, just trying to not accelerate that kite too much. While if you're not really having a lot of power, you would stall out the kite if you go for too much angle. So you want to keep the momentum going, probably going for a bit more speed instead of angle in that case. Yeah.
How about another question about angles, knowing when you, like how many tacks it'll take to get up to a windward turn pin? How is it that you know when you're supposed to turn or change your direction to get least amount of tacks to your upwind turn? That's a trick. Like for me, I look over my shoulder and I've got a spot on my shoulder, but until somebody showed that to me, it was just following you guys basically, and then kind of turning when you guys turn. Does that kind of still hold true for?
It is pretty similar to, you look over your shoulder, and as soon as you kind of you see the mark there, then you put the tack. If it depends how many tacks you're doing, it's obviously the last one is the important one, the reach for the mark. All the others are, that you can do hundreds or you can do 2. It doesn't really matter as long as the last one is perfectly lined up to the upwind mark, right? So it's getting a bit of a feeling for it. Seeing how much upwind you actually can pull. It's also before the actual race, it's a good idea to give the course a go before.
So here's a triangle windward leeward course, and that angle that you're talking about, turn pin 1, 2, and 3. Try to get rid of all these lines, but if we're starting here, you are ideally then, if the course is set up properly, the wind is pushing down towards the start line, and you have to tack to get up to the first turn pin. And so the question that I'm asking is, and you're hitting it, Dom, but just so you guys understand, how do you know how many times you need to tack, and how do you know when you need to get to that turn pin 1? And so for me, it's run as long of a reach as I can, as long as there's room or whatever the obstacles are around the course, and then get one tack basically. So run out and look over my shoulder. That's when I know how to look, and it's tight on my shoulder. Like I have to really crane my neck to catch it right out of the corner of my eye. And if you're off a degree or 2, then it changes up whether or not you have to run another extra tack to get around the turn pin. But that's a nice tactical move that I think is pretty smart that I picked up from racing.
Definitely, yeah.
Downwind, a downwind run. Typically, I'll move my turn pin a little bit more straight down from the second turn pin, or a little bit more to get looping the kite. Here's a good question. How much do you use your trim line when you're racing?
Well, that really depends how powered I am. Ideally, I have to use it, let's say shooting it halfway in on the upwind. Then you're nicely powered up, or well powered up, and then you let it out all the way for the downwind, so you get maximum downwind drive. Another important thing maybe for you guys on the downwind would be that you're going for way more speed than angle. You wouldn't want to loop your kite, because that actually slows you down. You just want to park the kite and just go the highest angle downwind you can go. I don't know if you guys, if you guys went what you're used to, but most people, if they start going downwind, they kind of loop the kite, or they go from left to right, or wing the kite from left to right and trying to go a straight line downwind, but you're just doing the same thing as you do upwind. You're kind of tacking.
And just to be clear, it's okay
zigzagging downwind, basically.
Gotcha. It is okay to loop your kite, but more so on a change of angle of where you're driving your skis. So maybe
Yes.
one loop just to change your angles. And obviously, the more you change your angles, the longer it's going to take. So change your angles the least amount of time as possible.
Yeah.
But otherwise, don't just sit there and loop your kite and change your angle, because you're putting the brakes on every time you change angles and you're slowing down. But looking more
Well,
for
especially you're slowing down. That's the thing. Yeah. While if you just park the kite, and those kites, you're going for the speed basically downwind. Yeah.
Okay. Anything about kite sizes? Obviously, it's surface conditions, wind speeds. That all matters. But I'm fascinated that you guys make the hyperlink right now. The biggest kite that you make in the hyperlink is a 12, and your biggest R1 is I'm not going to
21 now.
21.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. We added the 18 and the 21s.
Yeah. So, anything else about kite size? And maybe we're beating the dead horse with this race stuff. Maybe I'm fascinated to hear a little bit about your concepts on the hyperlink, and why is it that you guys only go up to 12 meters on that?
Because if you want to go for a bigger kite, if you need for a bigger kite, we've got the chrono in the range, which is especially in the big sizes for the light winds. Higher aspect gives you a lot more performance. The hyperlink, we tried one and it's not really exciting in a big size, and since we've got so many models or so many kites in the big sizes, you're good with a 15 chrono or an 18 or whatever.
Sure.
Yeah. I guess maybe the kite size for racing, you'll find yourself racing quite big kites a lot, which means 10, 11 meters upwards up to, like 15 and 18s are quite common sizes to race. I'd say, for a normal weight person, a good quiver would be a 17 or 18 plus a 13 and a 10 or 11 meter, something, or 9. If you go for a 3 kite quiver or something like that.
Now, aside from you and Tom Turley, most Americans are overweight, so we're up in a.
Since we added the 21 meter, right?
Right. But naturally, then those kite sizes they all really do relate, just like any other kiting, to your weight, because you don't want to get blown away or slowing down. Any comments about the R1s or chronos, about how those kites are performing? The chrono seems to have a little bit more attractive price point for somebody that maybe want to dabble in racing, but also wants to have some freestyle elements versus.
Free ride, yeah, exactly. If you're not a full-on race person, you probably would want to choose the chrono. Still gives you enough performance to go and enter races and do well in the races, but also on the sides, if you just want to go for a free ride and cruise and stuff, and it's just more easy to handle, a bit more stable, and obviously the price point is a good point here. But then, if we want to go max out, full speed, put into racing, which once you got infected with a fever, just like you did, at some stage it's the material that matters. There's only so much yourself can actually do. Once you realize, like, I've got good skis, I've got the right harness, I've got the good setup. It's down to the equipment at some stage, yeah.
How about
not necessarily at the beginning, not at the first season, whatever.
Okay. How about the backcountry? The 2 types of harnesses you guys offer, one with the red tab versus a traditional spreader bar hook. Do you have a lean on which one you prefer for racing?
Neither of them really, because I prefer a proper seat harness, like a kite surf seat harness for everything. The harnesses we offer, they pretty much pure backcountry, or recreational snow kiting harnesses, lightweight, so you know easy to carry into your backcountry and stuff like that.
I'm actually quite fond of the Snowkite harness. I wish you guys would take Snowkite off of it and just make that just a seat harness that you offer. I think it works great both in the water as well as on the snow. Particularly with my long legs, being 6'6", I can adjust that leg strap just an inch or two, or just move it a little bit on long reaches. So when we're doing endurance races like Ragnarok, for example, or local stuff here, it's nice to actually get a little bit of relief. And I'm not able to do that on any other seat style harness. So I'll just leave a pitch with that. But
I got a question when we're talking about harnesses. What about you got a lot of options now with like the instead of doing your spreader bar, you can do like a rope. Do you think going with that rope option, do you think you get any better upwind angle of attack versus just your traditional spreader bar?
I don't have the feeling like I would, but I only really tried it once and I just don't like it. So it also, because it moves a lot, it moves around your body, it also takes your bar and your chicken loop and everything further away from you. It's a personal thing really. If some people they ride it on the water all the time, they probably would prefer it on the snow as well.
Yeah.
Again, it's not. There's no. I haven't seen any performance enhancement in that.
Cool.
I'm going to kind of filter through a couple of questions. One of the guys wanted to look. He knew that he wouldn't be able to chime in, or was going to try to chime in as he could. I see there's a couple of people that I don't recognize, and thank you again for everybody that's coming into here. We're going to try to wrap
sign off, Mike. Thank you.
Say it again, Tom.
I got to sign off. So thanks very much, everybody.
Hey, good to see you, Tom. Think about Padre. We'll talk soon, okay?
All right, thanks.
Cheers.
Thanks, Dominik. Good luck this season.
See you. Thank you. Enjoy.
Bye.
All right. So one of the questions that came up was, and I'm just mining for it at the moment here, Snowkite Racing. I may as well just confirmed web conference. Here we go. Created. Here's an event. I got to find it. While I'm looking for this, details, free, any questions? Oh, darn it. I can't find it. Jim Watkins, reply to one. Give me a second. I'm going to mine through it. He just put it through last night or something like that. I'll bring it up. I don't know. Confetti. Talk about confetti or something for a second.
Hey, Dominik, I got another question. What about tube kites? I think I had a chance to be on like Ozone Edge, and I kind of fell in love with it. I'm not going to lie. But what type of tube kites are really going to give you that max, upwind angle of attack? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Oh, that's definitely the Edge. Yeah. That's where the Edge has been made for, right? It's back in the days, 2000, when I was at 12, 13, 14. It was all, and everyone was still racing tube kites before those high performance foil kites kind of came into the game. It's especially in the small sizes, the Edge can still be very competitive when the wind is nuking and gusty, and when the foil kites become a bit of a handful, you can do pretty well on the Edge still.
There's there's just a bigger range with with some of those tube kites. So in those really high gusts, I've been on the R1s and the Chronos, and the Edge doesn't have, the upwind attack, advantage, but, it's a lot easier to hold down that tube kite, in my opinion.
It totally is. Yeah. No worries. And if you're putting sort of shorter lines on an edge, and you've got the good skis and stuff, you're definitely going to do pretty well on those as well.
What kind of shape? What kind of shape is the Edge? Do you know?
What do you mean?
It's a higher aspect. I mean, by comparison,
is it a high aspect?
Not as high as a race kite, but certainly higher than most medium aspect kites.
Yeah.
You can be more technical about it.
It's definitely a high aspect tube kite. Yeah.
High aspect. Okay.
Oh, I'm bugged. I got too many messages to mine through on the spot. I just can't pull it up very quickly.
Well.
Yeah. Might be in here. I'll keep on looking here. But we got just a couple more minutes here, and then I did record this, so I'm going to figure out how to share that and see what that does. I don't actually really know how it all works, but this is a new format. So Brennan, the sneaky mentioned. Okay, here we go. Brennan, any chance could be recorded? I'll get a book deal going. Just confirming this is today. Okay. Bummer. Any preferred resources to learn more about wind, efficiency, fastest approach, angle? These would all be good topics. If he could write in everything you need to know about sniping for the experienced kiteboarder, that'd be great. So he's joking. He's having fun with it. But he'll be doing Ragnarok for the first time. I think he's out east on the somewhere. But he just asked if maybe we kind of covered some of those things already. But efficiency, fastest approach, angle, and then workout. I know that was another one of his questions that he had a while ago as well. So any final closing comments on those questions?
On what? On workout?
Yeah, is there like a physical workout that you could do that helps keep you in shape?
Kite.
For racing?
Yeah, kite. Kite as much as you can, and
yeah.
And having beers in the evening, that always helps.
That does. After 5 o'clock is our general rule. All right.
I guess anything that beefs up your legs, because it's mainly in the legs. So, I do a lot of bicycling, road bike, mountain biking, hiking, anything. Yeah, that's in the legs really.
Yep. How about any closing thoughts on how to do Ragnarok? Mike, who's asking me a lot of questions now with the cap there, he's gonna be running to Ragnarok with us too.
I'm a little scared, and I've got so many different scenarios running through my head, gear and training and lots of thoughts on my mind.
That's all right. One of the most important things is just to relax and not to forget to enjoy it. And
it's beautiful. It's really gorgeous. Really gorgeous. Are you not doing it this year?
I'm not coming now. Okay. I can't. But
what about, you guys have been there before? What about the elevation? Is the elevation? It looks like it's high. It's kind of high, but it's not that high.
No, it's not high. It's 1,200 meters, which is
less than a mile. Yeah.
You won't feel that.
You won't feel it?
No, not really. And then a good thing is to remember how the course goes, what the race course looks like, because the marks are actually so far apart that you can't see them.
What about navigate? Do you use any navigation or a compass or?
No, but I should have last year because I couldn't find the third mark or the second. Was it the second?
Second one had a little cliff drop from it.
I think
and the third one had the 50 plus mile an hour winds or whatever they were. It was incredible. I never found 4 or 5, but yeah.
It's also, remember one thing, you don't need to be fast in the first. If you can actually make the race,
Yeah.
you're already a winner.
Yeah.
You know,
For
especially as a first timer, if
Yeah.
you get through the race, you won.
Yeah.
Because that's a big achievement already. Last year we were 8 people finishing out of 350. So
Amazing, yeah.
but it was the toughest so far as well.
Were any of them on a tube kite, or were they all on pretty much race specific gear?
Well, the leaders weren't, but yeah.
Those guys were all on race specific gears, yeah. But you could have well been on a tube kite as well, because at the end it was kind of survival really.
Yeah.
I guess tube kite wouldn't have flown because there was like hardly any wind at the start and finish.
Yeah, between the start line and turn 1, it was busy turning the kites in the valley.
Yeah. There were a
Long
lot
lines.
of tube kites falling out the sky down there actually. Yeah, would have been hard though.
Well, let's close it up here. Dom, awesome.
Yeah, thank you
so
very
much for
much.
putting this together.
Thank
This
you.
is kind of a new deal. We'll see if it turns in anything. There might be some post discussion. I'll figure out how to wrap up the recording of this and
Nice
post
one.
it around and see if there's any further ways to utilize this. But Kite Guy, I'm not sure whom you are, but thank you for coming in. Mr. Ho, that's you, Mikey. Hanson, I'm not sure who that is. Could be Jake. I don't know. He just picked up a new 12-meter access, so he's pretty excited to get connected on that deal. And the rest of the guys have kind of fallen off. But really, really cool, Dom. I know it's a niche activity, so even finding people that are interested in this kind of topic is even, more like finding Bigfoot. Basically, it's just not a common thing. So I'm bitten by the race bug and any of the details that I can try and share. Plus, it's just good to hear other people talk about it. So I appreciate
Nice one. Thank
Yeah.
you guys very much, and hope to speak to you soon.
All right.
Thank you,
Well,
Dominik.
next time we'll see what it turns into. But thanks again, Tom. Dom, we'll follow up with you afterwards.
Will
Okay.
do.
I gotta go
Keep in touch, Mike.
off the bus. So I gotta
Good
roll.
stuff.
All right, guys. Thanks, everybody. Cheers. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Bye.